In the cold silence between Norway and Iceland, sailors spoke of something massive. Not just a fish, but a living legend. The Kraken. The earliest named encounter wasn't from a fisherman. It came from an Italian priest. Francesco Negri, a 17th century scholar, traveled through Scandinavia from 1663 to 1666. Shortly before he died in 1698, he sent to print a travelogue, Viaggio Settentrionale, that recounted tales he'd heard of a gargantuan fish called the shoecrack, described as many-horned or many-armed. Why did he write this? As a curious outsider, and not a sailor, Negri likely transcribed stories passed to him by Norwegian coastal folks, fishing communities steeped in superstition and woven by pragmatic fear. His account wasn't a scientific declaration. It was folklore immortalized in print. A few decades later, missionary Hans Egede, based in 1734, recorded more. Fishermen swore the Kraken's body stretched for many miles, with many heads and a number of claws that could drag ships and men under. Egede pulled from locals and from older lore. The King's Mirror, a medieval text, had already described the hafgufa, a legendary sea monster mistaken for an island that could swallow ships whole. So Egede didn't just pass on yarns, he connected them to centuries-old mythology. In 1753 came the grand dramatist of Kraken lore, Bishop Erik Pontoppidan. His Natural History of Norway was the first to call it Kraken, speculating it might be a starfish, crab, or giant octopus, and warning it could sink ships simply with its sheer mass. Pontoppidan's flourish wasn't based on a first-hand sighting. It was fueled by local reports, rumors, and possibly the dramatic traditions of the era. But by giving the beast a name and vivid description, he sparked the legend into European imagination. Fast forward to 1861. The steamship Alekton encountered something real. They harpooned a massive creature, only bagging a tail. Scientists later confirmed it belonged to the giant squid, Architeuthis. And in 1873, near Newfoundland, fishermen saw something enormous, with a beak the size of a 6-gallon keg, and tentacles taller than themselves. They chopped 2 off with an axe, mount one in a museum, and suddenly, the Kraken got its body. The Kraken survives not because it's real, but because it represents the unknown, the endless dark of the sea. Even the giant squid, real as it is, doesn't vanish the mythical aura. It only feeds it. And oh, has it persisted. Tennyson penned a sonnet in 1830. Victor Hugo, in 1866, gave us a man-eating octopus. Verne turned it into high seas terror in 20,000 Leagues. Comics, films, even the NHL team in Seattle bears its name, all paying respect to a creature born from fear and fascination. So what is the Kraken? A chain of stories stitched over centuries, each storyteller adding flesh to skeletons. The unknown sea gave us a myth. Then nature handed us a squid, and pop culture turned it into a legend. Whether fish, squid, or nightmare, it still lurks in the depths of our imagination.